Good evening, fellow Utahns. I wanted to take just a moment to talk to you about some disturbing rumors we're hearing in Washington, D.C. Many of you have been fighting alongside me and with many others for the last 6 years to make sure that President Obama doesn't designate any additional monuments in the state of Utah. We're hearing today that President Obama may well be moving forward with a monument designation, possibly designating a monument in the Bears Ears area as early as next week. I hope this isn't true. And President Obama, if you happen to get this message at some point, I implore you not to do this. Please don't take this step. Now, I want to make very clear, we have to remember that when Sally Jewell, the Secretary of the Interior, went through the Senate confirmation process after she was nominated to be the Secretary of the Interior, I asked her about how she would use this authority, how she would advise President Obama in using the Antiquities Act. And she made a pretty solemn promise at the time. She said, "I will not advise the President of the United States to use the Antiquities Act in the absence of widespread local buy-in." In other words, the local affected communities, those most directly impacted by presidential designation of a monument under the Antiquities Act, would need to enjoy widespread local support. We don't have that in San Juan County. We don't have that, or anywhere close to it, not among the elected officials down there, not among the people generally down there. So I want to make very clear, I'm against this monument designation in general. I would be against it even in other circumstances. I'm especially against it, against this backdrop of overwhelming local opposition to the monument and the designation of the monument in these circumstances. We're in the final days of the Obama administration. President Obama has just witnessed a pretty significant election in which a lot of people reacted, quite frankly, to what many perceive correctly in many instances as a widespread abuse of executive power over the last few years. It would be an especially significant mistake, I think, for President Obama to take this step now. So I ask you, President Obama, please don't make this mistake. Please don't take this step, especially in light of the fact that there's such widespread opposition to this monument designation in Utah, and especially in San Juan County, Utah. Don't do this. Keep in mind, this is the poorest county in the state of Utah. Keep in mind that people in these rural communities in San Juan County who will be most severely affected by this will themselves be made poorer, will themselves be made to feel that much more removed from their government in Washington, D.C., which is already doing too much to impoverish them and to disconnect them from what is their own government. Now look, it's not too late for the President of the United States to change his mind. And so I encourage all within the sound of my voice, all who might receive this message, to reach out to the White House. Please urge President Obama not to designate the Bears Ears National Monument. Keep in mind the wishes of the local people. Keep in mind the needs of these rural communities. Now, I want to make clear, if heaven forbid this does happen, I will work tirelessly with the incoming Trump administration to make sure that this national monument never gets off the ground, to make sure that it's undone, that it's defunded, that it's rewritten, unwritten, repealed, whatever it is that we have to do in order to undo it. And I'll also work very hard, and I think in many respects, oddly, will be propelled forward in our cause of either repealing the Antiquities Act altogether, keeping in mind that perhaps we shouldn't give this much power to any one president, or at a minimum, making sure that Utah receives the same favorable treatment under the Antiquities Act currently enjoyed by the states of Wyoming and Alaska. If President Obama takes this unfortunate step, this may well be his legacy. His legacy may well be the disruption, the review, the revision, or perhaps the complete repeal of the Antiquities Act. I don't think he wants that to be part of his legacy. And I certainly don't think he wants it to be part of his legacy to further impoverish the most poverty-stricken corner of the state of Utah in San Juan County. So President Obama, don't do this. And my fellow Utahns, please join with me. Please join me in this cause to make sure that the people of Utah remain in control of their own destiny and that they are not made subject to a last-minute designation of a president on his way out the door. Thank you very much. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless the state of Utah.